Hello and welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardon Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Howdy, everyone.
And today we're going to talk about a very important topic. We're analyzing all of the policy proposals of one Andrew Yang, Democratic candidate for president of 2020. And this one, I think, is very near and dear to all of us because we've had good teachers that have helped formulate us as individuals. And he suggests increased teacher salaries. Now, on the surface, at face value, all of us think, oh yeah, that'd be great. That's like cleaner air, cleaner water, increased teacher salaries, more happiness. We all can agree. However, there's nuts and bolts in the math. And as Yang gangers, you gotta love math. We love math. So what we're gonna do here is dive into a couple of articles about how much money we spend, how to spend the money, how to better put it in the teacher's hands. And we're going to talk a little bit about some articles from the American Enterprise Institute, the Cato Institute, and the hashtag Red4Ed and Wikipedia article on all of the teacher salary strikes that have been going on in the past year. This is an important issue for everybody on both sides, and we're going to dive right in. So, Cody, can you catch us up on what Andrew Yang is proposing to do to increase teacher salaries?
Of course, and this one, really, to keep it simple, he doesn't get too verbose here. Work with states to fund their education systems to improve teacher salaries and reduce layers of administration, leading to better educational outcomes. The biggest one to me is reduce layers of administration. I think that's where a lot of the money gets lost. It should be going to teachers. Some of the goals here involved are to improve the quality of teachers in the country and reward teachers for improving their skills. Again, something that I'm very strongly with. And the problems he's identified is teacher salaries in this country. They're too low to incentivize potential teachers with great skill but other options. Basically, they're not competitive in the market, and teachers don't have a strong monetary incentive to continually improve their craft.
Yeah, I loved how he said, while these policies, referring to the millions of rules on teachers, my mother's a teacher, okay? So while these policies, such as the No Child Left Behind Act and all of the stacks of testing they have to go through. While these policies have their places, there's a more direct method of attracting people who will be strong teachers while also incentivizing those that are teaching already to improve. Pay them more. What do you know? We're introducing a little bit of capitalism.
Hold on here. From the way I understand things, the biggest roadblock to that has really nothing to do with the federal government, and is, I'm assuming, the teacher unions. They try to fight for the most pay for everyone, not the highest pay for the best teachers.
Well, and then the union itself is also a big part of the problem, simply just because. Here, let's go to the graph.
Well,
actually,
we've spoken with an attorney who's bringing a lawsuit against the Los Angeles County Teachers Union because of some of the practices.
And part of the reason why, though, I have such a problem with the LA Unified School District and their teachers union is because they got $10 million a year to put into political campaigns. They're always complaining that the teachers are broke and the teachers they represent don't have enough funds and this and that. Yet you look at their administration building and how much that school district soaks up. If you would half the bureaucracy of LA Unified School District and get rid of the millions that they literally pump into political campaigns and just simply give it back to the teachers, just like the UBI wants to have a VAT tax and give the dividend back to the citizens. If you would actually limit how large the bureaucracies of some of these teachers unions could be and not make it so they could be political players, then you would all of a sudden have millions of dollars to go back to the teachers they claim are so broke from oppression of the administration.
Yeah, well, I guess the biggest thing that I've just seen just personally, and this is just based on anecdotal evidence, what I see, knowing people, working in education and stuff, is that a lot of money does end up getting kind of lost through the cracks just with administrative, different positions and stuff all along from lower education to higher. And just along the way, I mean, there's a lot of things that cost money that a school has money going towards, a lot of positions, a lot of administrative roles, where by the time the money gets to the teachers, a lot of it does seem to be lost. And I do think that is probably the quickest path, right? Is just finding jobs that maybe could be streamlined. I mean, basically, it sounds like taking over the education system and running it like a business.
Yeah.
This is a position, no, not anymore. These 2 jobs do these 4 tasks now. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yes, and this is where I'd be interested to see how Andrew Yang butts up against his party and bucks his party with how much they have fought Betsy DeVos, Trump's appointee, who's a huge charter school choice, and teacher salary advocate. Okay, but first let's get to the math because we want to get in the math. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to show you a graph right now that shows the expenditures. Okay, this is from the American Enterprise Institute, and it shows that education spending has doubled, but our test scores have not. And if you look at the average price per child in 1970, we were below $5,000 a child. And if you look at it in the 2000s, we're at over 11,000, nearly 12 grand per child. So it's more than doubled, yet our test scores, as you can see on this graph right here, have remained completely stagnant. And what does that tell us? That money and funding is not the problem. The tangible money is not the problem. The intangible elements of, for example, teacher quality is a problem, perhaps bureaucracy. And FAFSA itself, the U.S. government has come out and recognized that part of the reason why college is so expensive is because their unmitigated, uncontrolled lending has made it so there's no incentive for colleges to maintain a lower price. So just as that has led to the higher increased cost of secondary education, primary education has gone up because there's been such an inflation of the requirements on teachers, the testing required of teachers and by teachers, and the bureaucracy meant to feed that testing beast and feed that regulatory beast. I myself have gone in to do bids in schools where there have been teachers and administrators who've been brokenhearted. I used to work in pest control before I started the lucrative art of radio. And I remember going down to LA Unified School District, and there was this classroom that was loaded to the hilt with rats. The kids were seeing rats throughout the school, throughout the day. And the principal brings me into the gym and says, "Is there anything you can do?" We turn on the lights and we see hundreds of rats scamper. And there's about 15 photocopiers in the middle of this gym. And I tell her, "Oh no, we got to get these photocopiers out of here. Each one of these is like 15 or 20K. And guess what? She says, "Oh, don't worry about those photocopiers. I had $200,000 in my technology budget, and I have to use it or lose it. It's called fund accounting, okay? And so I bought all these photocopiers, and we just store them here so I didn't lose my $200,000 budget. Oh, by the way, we don't have any more for maintenance facilities. Can you donate the $5,000 worth of rodent control that we need so our kids aren't getting sick off rat feces?" So she's got $200,000 to waste on unnecessary technology while she doesn't have $5,000 to keep her kids from getting sick. This is foolishness that is created by an inflated government model of fund accounting. And if we could get rid of the fund accounting and simply trust that administrator with a budget, she could actually run her school lean, efficiently, and as Cody the Oracle says, more like a business. So maybe we don't need to vilify these words like charter school that runs with a certain amount of money given it as a business. And yes, there's some crappy charter schools, but by and large, they're extremely effective. And guess what? Throwing more money at the problem is not the solution. We need to find a way to encourage better teachers. And so far, teacher pay is a huge impediment to getting good ones. I can tell you want to jump in. Cody.
Yeah, well, just something else I kind of wanted just to highlight here real quick. Obviously, we've established this issue, but just showing the breadth of what's going on today and why it's so topical. This is a summary of strikes and protests by location related to education in the United States in 2018, 2019. You'll notice, I think the latest one here looks like April 2018 going through May of this year. So a calendar year. And we have a strike that took place in Arizona. We have a strike that took place in Colorado, Georgia, Kentucky, Los Angeles.
That was the Red for Ed strike, right? With the big banner?
I believe so. One of them was. I mean, we get, like I said, Los Angeles, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Virginia, West Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. These are all places that have had some kind of strike or walkout or protest related to education recently. Now, you look at some of these. I believe there's a bus driver strike in Georgia that falls under here. 7 bus drivers are fired, I guess, and they're still ongoing the collective bargaining. But you look, and there's here in Los Angeles, famously, teachers fought for a 6% salary increase and a reduction in class size and an increase in support staff. It looks like Oklahoma fought to get a $6,000 raise for teachers and a $1,250 raise for support staff. And we can keep going down the list, but just the idea is this is something that this is a conversation going on really all across the country right now over pay for teachers, where that money's going. I believe when they refer to support staff, that I think is what we were referring to as administrative fees. Support staff, I believe, is, administrative positions. I can't think of a better term for that, as well as like, groundspeople and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just showing that across the country, this is something that people are fighting for on, really a daily basis over the last year. People have been fighting, or the pay for teachers has been an issue for them. And it looks like some of these places have caved is the last thing I want to say on that.
Well, yeah, because they end up having no choice. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of collective bargaining. And I really think that we undervalue teachers. And Democrats need to step up.
Isn't that the issue, though? Typically the unions are who collectively bargains on the behalf of the teachers.
Yeah, there's other ways of collectively bargaining. It doesn't just have to be through a union. And there's plenty of non-union schools that have very good pay programs. So when I say collective bargaining, it's in the loosest sense of the term.
But the largest unions, right? I mean, like Los Angeles County, for example.
Yeah, but see, LA Unified School District is a horrible example. I mean, they protect pedophile teachers while, firing good avant-garde ones. I mean, everything that is bad with bureaucracy and the bad side of unions is present in LA Unified School District. And it's sad because there's so many amazing teachers in that school district that are completely stifled. And in my lifetime, I've seen really good avant-garde teachers put in a backseat role, or maybe even disciplined for not going by the book or being orthodox when they were actually amazing and ahead of their times, simply because of the power of unions. So what I have to say is I love that Andrew Yang is talking about this, and I love that he recognized that teacher salary is a big part of the problem, because teacher salary has not gone up in conjunction with inflation or the cost of living. However, let's take a slightly more holistic approach and recognize that part of the reason why the teachers aren't getting paid so much of this double we're now spending, or more than double we're now spending on education, is because the bureaucracy on top of them needs to get thinner so that they can get some of that money, all right? There is a lot more to teachers' salary than just demanding more from taxpayers. And I really, really think that there needs to be some serious caps put on the bureaucracy and how much they are they're tested and regulated. Because back in the 90s, my mom had a hilarious political cartoon on her desk that showed this frazzled, burnt out teacher in front of a sign that said Parent-Teacher Night. And she got up in front of all these parents and she said, with ADA compliance, Blacks in History Month, LGBTQ awareness, social studies, and all these other programs I have to take care of, I no longer have time for reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's where you as parents come in. I mean, we say that in jest, but we've burnt out an entire generation of teachers that are swimming in standardized test scores when there's never been a more necessary time, as Andrew Yang says, to prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. All right? AI has come, these menial jobs in this menial public education business model that's basically based off of factory blue-collar labor from the 50s and 60s needs a major overhaul. And as Gary Vee says, the biggest asset an entrepreneur is going to have, aka a future American citizen is going to have in the 21st century, is emotional intelligence. I love that Andrew Yang is suggesting that we measure GDP differently to include the work that mothers do in the home. We also need a holistic approach to revamping our education to include how we are emotionally preparing our students for the future and gauging not just their knowledge as it pertains to intelligence, but their emotional intelligence itself. So I'm just curious to see how, as a Democrat, he is going to succeed at this, because he's going to butt his head against guys like Bill de Blasio, who've gone after charter schools, gone after increased teacher pay, gone after school choice, gone after anything that's not teachers union giving him money for his next election. As a Democrat, it seems like he's going to have a lot more listening ears on the Republican side of the aisle, which might actually be something that works in his favor. This actually might be a benefit to Andrew Yang as a president of the United States of America. So, Cody, do you have anything else you want to jump in there before I close?
No, not really. I mean, I guess just one last closing thought is just one thing I would say that the education system has shown us in the last 10 years is that you can't throw money at a problem to fix it. They've been throwing money at this problem for as long as I can remember, and it's never worked. So that's just the one thing I want to throw in at the end.
Yeah. Democrats need to step up and put their money where their mouth is and start thinking outside the box like they claim they want to all the time, and understand that maybe capitalism might help you think outside of the box. And Republicans need to step up and really need to start addressing this issue and put their money where their mouth is and endorse and actually enact some of these programs that they think might help, because it's not just Democrat states that are suffering with low test scores. Mississippi has the lowest education scores in the union right now, and it's the reddest state. Second, only with California in worst low test scores.
It's by throwing money out. It's bipartisan, man. Everyone tries to
Yeah.
just say we just need to increase funding for the schools. I mean, just one last thing I'll show is
so teachers, you deserve more pay. Secure the bag and get more pay. This is Problem Solver Politics.